G'day everyone, here for our usual Friday Sony Alpha rumours and news. Can't wait to get stuck into today's show. Let me just check a couple of things are right. Yeah, that's blocked out. So pop in and say hello in the chat. We got a couple of people in here already. Who have we got in here? Casper's saying it's in time. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, hang on. Guys, can you just chat a minute? I think I've got a delivery. Sorry about that, guys. It's a wedding album. One of my weddings that I've done. I hate missing them because I'd have to get it on the Monday. It's so far to run, I'm now over breath. So who else have we got? Let's have a look. Jamie said, have you ordered the 135 yet? No, I haven't, Jamie. I'm going to wait and have a look at it in the shop. Doesn't mean I won't buy it, but I'm going to have a look at it. I want to get my beer, actually. I mean, coffee. Gotta watch I don't show it. Whoop. I think I nearly did. This is one you drink with lemons, but I'm gonna put it in a cup. So let me just move it over here. Oh, let me move it over there. Yes. Whoops. Yum. It's a bit frothy, this coffee, isn't it? Let's see who else is here. So no, I haven't ordered it yet, Jamie. I'm sure the shop that I use will have one though for me. They're waiting there for me to go and have a look at. I'll probably get a call, probably. Hero says he's made it. Hero says the 135 is starting to ship from Adorama. Oh, so they're shipping from the 30th of the 4th. So that's this month, isn't it? No, it's next month, isn't it? So I hope I get mine in the first wave. Oh, so we're still another month away, according to that, are we? Because it's only the 3rd, isn't it? Or am I just completely... I lose track of what date it is. We're only the 3rd, so there's still a month away. Oh, that's terrible. I didn't realise it was going to be that far away. So we're still a month away to even looking at them. Gerald's in here as well. Barry's saying, hello, David. Coffee Brothers, Heroes saying, I love it. And Thomas says, g'day, David. Aldrich says, hey, everyone. Robert says, hi from Huntsville, Alabama. Rui says, hello, everyone. Hope that everything goes well today with no failures. Yeah, we hope not. Well, Aaron's not in here. It was my Skype that was causing issues. Adam said, hi, first time catching the live show. Welcome, Adam. And you've just seen me run out to go and get a delivery. The problem is my studio is in the back part. I built it in the back garden from down a long driveway. So it's separate to the house. I did that deliberately so that it wouldn't sort of interfere with Kerry coming home because she works full time. And then I'm not interfering with her when I've got clients around or wedding interviews and things like that. So I had to run to the front of the house to get that. Problem is, if I miss the delivery, then it goes to the post office and then it's a pain. And, no doubt the bride's going to be waiting for that book. What else have we got? G'day from Princetown, New Jersey. Listening to you while I'm editing in Photoshop. Bill said, I'm here. Welcome, David. Mark said, hello all. Would be interesting for David to demonstrate how far he has to stand back from the mannequin at 135. Yeah, no, it would be, wouldn't it? Could use a 70-200 for that test. Chris said, hello, David. Good day in Los Angeles for a Corona. Cheers. Bruce said, hey, everyone. Eric said, I pre-ordered the 135 last week. I'm disappointed if we've got to wait another month for it, though. I was hoping it'd be out earlier than that. I hope they come here earlier before you guys. Sometimes we do get them a couple of weeks early. So said, g'day mate from the USA. Steve said, greetings all. Tim said, I'm going to the city tonight for several coffees, although the weather is changing big in Melbourne tonight. Yeah, it's meant to really cool down. I'm so glad I haven't got a wedding this weekend because it's going to be cold tomorrow. It's 15 degrees Celsius. We've got a big change. At the moment, it's, what are we at the moment? It's 27 degrees Celsius at the moment, but I believe there's a big change coming overnight and it's going to be 15 with rain. So I'm so glad I haven't got a wedding this weekend. Barry said, sobering up from coffee from last night. Yeah, I did have a great night. We went to Chinese. It was really good. Thank you, everyone, for all of the well wishes for our anniversary. Kerry was also very appreciative of that, so thank you so much. Yeah, we did. We had a lovely champagne and Chinese. It was really nice. Hero says April the 30th. Yeah, another month, Hero. That's terrible. Why does it take so long to get these things out? Tim said, that looks more like tea that you have with lemon than coffee. It does actually, doesn't it? It's, you have lemon or lime with it, I think, is the one. And it comes from Mexico, this coffee. Now, don't forget that, I'm just going to show this because... before we start the show fully, please join the Photography Videography School. We've got over 4,000 members now. It's 4,156. Please join us there. It's a fantastic site that I've set up for you guys. Very, very positive. We don't have any of the prima donnas on there. But also wanted to promote my meetup that I'm having in Melbourne next week. It is on Melbourne and Saturday the 6th. There is an event put on Facebook for it. So let me know if you're coming to the event. But I've got, Kiara can't make it, she's working on the night, but I've got two amazing girls coming that I've posted recently. Stunning girls. So, you know, they're going to be there on the day. Depending on how many people, I love this thing too. This guy's got... his bum there showing through, and it looks like it's a shot through the breasts. I love it. Dana put that up, and there's a classic. That really makes you laugh looking at that. What a classic that is. I love it. We got some rumours about Sony, the A8. I think that was from last year's April Fool's Day. You know, stuff like that. So please join us on there. Michael put a post up talking about how he was disappointed about where he stood the bride. I don't see any issues with it, but... we all had a total discussion about that. I love the groom's pants. I think that's more of an issue, but perhaps that's just fashion over there. Gerald's posting some stuff from his holiday over in the Caribbean, I think is where he is. But yeah, please join us. It's fantastic. Have to say thank you so much to Delta Dave, though, because Delta Dave, I just got a delivery today, sent this morning. It was a massive box, and I thought, what on earth is this? But he's sent me, I'm not going to tell you how many, but it's incredible. He has sent me stacks of these t-shirts. There is this one. He's also sent me the black one and the grey one as well. So I'm going to give them out on my Melbourne get-together. So if you are coming to the Melbourne get-together, I'm not saying you'll get one because it depends how many people show up, but I will be having some gifts and that to hand out. I have got these t-shirts that I'm going to hand out, and I've also contacted Sony. They said they were going to send me some things, but whether it gets here in time, I don't know. So there will be plenty of giveaways on the night as well. So stay tuned for that. So thank you so much, Delta Dave. It would have cost him a fortune to send it. I know how much it was, actually. So really appreciate it. And you know what? It's things like that where you get members or subscribers like that aren't just subscribers to me, they're friends, just like you. I say to you guys, this is like a group of mates sitting around having a drink together, and I really mean it, and I'm not bullshitting when I say that. I really do mean it. It means a lot to me. And then, you know, like Delta Dave did that. I mean, fantastic. I can't thank him enough. So that's that. So I've also got a shoot on Wednesday with the amazing Kate. If you scroll back and look at one of my reviews, Kate is there in the Docklands in Melbourne. I'm going to be photographing her around Melbourne on Wednesday. And I'll probably test the A9 on that day with her, the new focusing. So if you do want to come with me, just message me and we can organise something if you wouldn't mind holding lights and stuff like that and watch how I work. Kate is stunning, absolutely stunning. She is a professional model. So if you'd like to be involved with that with me, just contact me and let me know. And you can watch us shoot and everything else. So let me know if you want to be involved in that as well. All right, so I'm going to bring up the logo just so we can start the show. Let me just put that in there, and then we're going to go through some stuff. So let me put this on, and then I'm just going to introduce the show. I'm a little bit late, 5 minutes actually. G'day everyone, here for our usual Sony Alpha Rumours and News live show on Friday, well Thursday your time, wherever else you are. Got some interesting stuff to go through with you today, definitely going through some rumours about the new Sony cameras and some other things that we're going to have a discussion about. Had a stack of people pop up in the chat, also saying that we now believe that April the 30th is going to be the day when the 135 ships. I'm hoping we get it earlier here in Melbourne because I didn't want to wait that long to even try it. So hopefully we can get one out a little bit earlier than that. I noticed last time when the cameras came out, I got it about a week before you guys. So I'm hoping it might happen again. I am drinking my malty coffee. Looks like tea. It's a Mexican coffee that you put lemon and lime in it. So cheers. What else have we got? So let me just quickly cross over to here before we start the news story. It's just going through stuff. Barry was saying sobering up after last night. Yeah, it was my anniversary. We had a ball. Mark said, hope the Sony gods release the A7S III with 100mm as a kit. I don't think that's going to happen, Mark. Noel said, David, you are the man. Oh, thanks, Noel. Scott said, and camera reviews, hello. As I put my daughter to bed, she said hello from Emma. Hi, Emma, how are you? Mark said, thumbs up, everyone. Yeah, that does make a difference. Please give me a thumbs up, guys. Oastler said, hi there, David. Luciano said, hey, Dave, some news about the perfect lens, something 12 to 1000 1.1. No, I haven't got any news about a lens on that sort of focal range, that's for sure. Scott said, RX0II, so much potential, but focus will be an issue. I'm going to talk about that actually today. And Mike's here as well. All right, so let's get started on the show. Let me put first story. Because I want to go through some stuff in here. There's a lot of rumours have been posted on Sony Alpha Rumours this morning talking about the NAB show. So this is quite interesting. It's sort of similar to what they've been saying before, but they're now saying that on April the 7th, Sony will announce new camcorders only. So it looks like we're only going to get new camcorders announced. And they're saying in here that A7S is still on track for a full announcement and some revolutionary features. So they're only saying fall announcement. So if it is fall, we're going to get it near the end of the year. If it's anything like the 135, it'll be announced a couple of months before we can actually get it. So it looks like we're probably going to get that sometime late in the actual year. So we're just going to have to wait for that, unfortunately. Just to go over these rumours. So they're saying that new camcorders are going to be announced, which probably makes sense because it is the NAB show, which is based on video. This would have also been a good thing for them to release the A7S III. But I think they're obviously still working on it. So there must be stuff that they're still trying to figure out with that camera. They're saying, okay, so this is fact. According to Sony Alpha Rumours, fact, Sony confirms a professional APS-C camera is on their roadmap and said an enthusiast model is on the way. And I'll put these down below so you can read the articles if you want to. And I'll discuss this in a minute once we've gone through them all. It also says, fact, Sony confirms a new APS-C E-mount camera will be announced in 2019 and exceed expectations. That's what we believe is going to be the A7S III. So that's that rumour. They're also saying, rumour, one more E-mount camera will be announced in Q2. We believe that will be the A7000. They've said all along, all the rumours are pointing to them having a A7S announcement sometime around June, A7000 or A6500 replacement around June. And I've said to you all along that they still have to answer the XT3, and they haven't answered that yet. So we are waiting for Sony to answer that with something like 4K 60 and 10-bit recording. Whether that gets all of that or whether they hold that for the A6000, the A7S III, remains to be seen. So, but it's still exciting news. So it looks like we're going to get something around the middle of the year, which we do believe is the A6500 replacement. Now, whatever they call that, it might be an A6700, it might be an A6800, it may be an A7000. We don't know yet. If it is radically different, they probably will change the whole naming convention, and that's where we'll get to A7000. If it's not such a big update, it probably then would be an A6700 or an A6800, probably around that way. It'll depend on what they were going to give us in that camera. But clearly they have to match what Fuji have announced, or released, I should say, with their XT3. Because Sony is definitely behind on the video features of that camera. Focus-wise, I still think that the A6400 would be in front. But for video-wise, the XT3 is way ahead of what Sony have got in any camera at the moment. So that's something that does have to be answered. So it looks like there'll be two versions. It looks like there'll be an A7000 or something around that around June, and then end of autumn in US time, so probably October, something like that. They'll announce the A7S III that will be released at the end of the year. This sort of clearly points to they're not going to replace the A9 this year. I haven't heard of any rumours of an A9 replacement coming up this year, and I'll talk about that in another story in a minute when we go through the A9. But it's quite interesting that, you know, I think that's probably what's going to happen. And now I only need one camera, so I do definitely need one camera. Otherwise, I'm going to get divorced. Probably what will happen, even if the A7... Well, let me say this to you. If the A7000 meets all my needs and it's announced in the middle of the year and it does 4K 60p, it has a flip-out screen, it does 10-bit recording, I probably will just purchase that. And then later on in the year, if they do this amazing A7S III, I probably won't buy it this year, but I might buy it next year. That's probably what will happen. I'm still waiting for the ultimate camera to come out for video from Sony, which will give me that 4K 60p and better bit depths and stuff like that. So, you know, and I do want to start playing around with, say, using log and things like that, and being able to push those files inside the editor. And to do that, if you really are starting to use log, you really need to be recording in a 10-bit format, due to the fact that the second you push it, you're going to get gradients that have issues, and you're going to get stepping in those gradients. It's a fact with 8-bit is not enough. Even though the Sonys can do 8-bit 422, that's still, there's no real difference between 422 and 420. If you look online on YouTube, you'll see that there really is not really any benefit from doing it, apart from a bit of a larger file size. You need 10-bit to make a difference. And obviously, if they can also give us bigger bit depths as well, that will be fantastic. So, but it's going to be interesting, because will they give us all of that in an A7000, and then would that take sales away from the A7S III? I'm not sure, but I think the A7S III will probably have a few things up its sleeve. The A7000 probably will need to be connected to an external recorder to get all of those features. I don't think they'll do it internally, so I think you're going to have to get something external to record 10-bit, for instance, in that, or even 4K 60, or higher bit depths. And they do lack at the moment in bit depths, and that's something that has to be addressed. I've got a feeling that the A7S III will probably be a totally new design sensor, and we keep hearing that, and we keep hearing that it's going to meet expectations or pass expectations. So I think you're probably going to find that this will record internally. It probably will do 10-bit internal, 4K 60 internal, and this may be the big difference, say, between an A7000 and a A7S III, and that's the main reason why I bought the this, because I thought I can see the writing on the wall that to get the ultimate resolution out of these cameras, I'm probably going to end up needing something like that Ninja V, and that's why I've sort of preempted it and grabbed it now. and I do actually like using it. But that's what I think is actually going to happen. But there are a couple of other rumours in here as well before we open up the chat. They're saying there that same thing, that the A7S III is going to be announced this fall and feature a completely new sensor, and they're saying it's 70% reliable, which is fairly high, and Sony 8K sensors, a new codec specification, 90% reliable. So it's going to be interesting to see if Sony announced those, say, camcorders with 8K sensors in NAB, and that's going to be an interesting thing. Or whether they're just going to hold those 8K sensors to something like a new FS7 or something like that. We don't know. That's the camera department. Sony's lenses. They're saying Sony patented a new 100mm f1.4. That's going to be a beautiful lens, I think. If it's anything like their other lenses they're releasing, that's going to be a stunner. A 1.4 at 100mm would be incredible. 500mm f4 and the 600mm f4. These lenses, particularly the 500 and the 600mm lens, will have to be released before the Olympics. So they're probably going to be released sometime this year. They have patented them, so it's just a matter of time now before they're released. Now, maybe that they don't release them until early in the new year, and then they'll be ready for the Olympics as well. Also, another rumour is that APS-C lenses to be announced within Q1, Q2, so there's going to be some APS-C lenses, and this will make people like Oreo and others, I know, that keep asking for this lens. A new 35mm 1.8 lens is on the roadmap, 70% reliable, and a 200 to 600 FE lens is on the roadmap as well. And they would be fantastic lenses to have, because particularly if you want a decent or a longer zoom lens for like wildlife and things like that. I'm not sure what f-stop that would be, probably f5.6 variable or something, but it is a 200 to 600 will be great for wildlife, and obviously more affordable than, say, buying the 600 f4, which probably would be quite expensive, and the 500 f4. You're going to find the 500 and the 600 probably going to be tailored towards that sports shooter, like the Olympics particularly, and also for wildlife and things like that. The 200 to 600mm lens is probably going to be more of a lens that the average purchaser would buy, that wants something that, is reasonably long to very long, and that would be fantastic for travel and stuff like that if you wanted a longer lens to shoot wildlife and stuff like that without it being ridiculously expensive. So there's some interesting things. I know a lot of people want the 35 f1.8 lens, and I do think that's something Sony have to give its users, because remember, the A7S, the A7 III is Sony's entry-level mirrorless camera, so they need lenses to match that side of of the purchasing power. So they've already got the 85 1.8. All they really need now is a 35 to give you that beautiful combination of a 35 and an 85. And the 85 is a stunning lens for the price you pay for that lens. It's brilliant. So if they can do the same thing with a 35mm 1.8, make it really light, really small, really sharp like the 85 is, boy, what a winner that will be. And it would be a fantastic lens to have. Not only that, I think that would make a great lens for APS-C cameras as well. You get a 50mm out of it, basically. And like I said, I'm probably not going to buy APS-C lenses anymore. I have been tempted with the Sigma 16 1.4, but I don't know. Now, the other thing before we open up the chat is third-party lenses. They're saying in here that fact, Sigma said first lens designed for Sony mirrorless cameras will be announced within 2019. I know you can get the 70mm macro that was fully designed for Sony, but I think these are going to be a completely new design for Sony from the ground up. And also Sigma will soon be ready to launch their first FE zoom lenses. And again, this is just so good if you're a Sony shooter. Yonogo is saying he's working on the first FE autofocus lenses, and some info might be spilling out in March. 90% reliable as well. And this is also interesting that Sony patented a new drone camera as well. So, wow. I mean, boy, there's certainly some interesting news there. So let me open up to the chat, because I'd be curious to know what you guys are saying about all of this. Richard's just saying hi. Hazza saying hi to everyone. Gerald said, loving how great the new real-time tracking works. I know, I'm going to talk about that in a minute, Gerald. On the A9 firmware update, series of shots posted in Photography and Video School on Facebook. Saw them, they look great. Sharif said, good evening from Orlando. I'm catching you live. Shows in a weekly better play the lottery. I'm catching 2 live shows this week. Well, I can't wait for next year to obviously join you all in LA and Vegas. I'm coming out for WPPI with Kerry. I'll sort of post more things as it starts to get closer, but I'm dying to meet you all. Can't wait. Eddie said hello from Barbados. Funamix in here as well. G'day, mate. Carl says I'm late. Peter said New York in the house, David. Chris said hello. Hero said A6900. Casper said Nikon loser Ike. Oh god, they're off again. Dion said g'day Dion, how are you? Eric said the Fuji X-T3 is absolutely atrocious battery performance. Sony can easily top that. Yeah, and that is one of the issues with the Fuji. They really should have tried to design a better battery for that for sure, and it is its downfall. Probably later on they'll come up with another design like Sony did, but yeah, it's definitely a problem. Fatamix said, about Tim, thought you were crying in a corner ignoring me. Carl said, all I want is the perfect camera. Casper said, the Sony A9 is the masterpiece with this update. I know, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Mark said, Sony lenses 100 f1.4. Yeah, baby. I know, that's probably going to be an amazing lens. Scott said, the RX10V with APS-C sensor. Not sure. Mark said, I'm getting Sony. What does that mean, Mark? Luciano said, I see some A8s today on Facebook. Yeah, that was an April Fool's Day joke last year, and they're popping up again for April Fools. I noticed Amar did one this morning. Oscar said, I really hope the rumours of the 35 1.8 become true, hopefully with similar performance to the 85 1.8. Look, I'm sure they will. That's definitely one lens that would sell very, very well for Sony. And they're not silly. They would see how well the 85 1.8 sells. So it's only a matter of time before they fill that gap in that marketplace. So just hang on. I'm sure it's going to come out. Hero says, I want the 105 1.4 from Sony. I love the Sigma, but the low light is not great. It's not great for 1600. Okay. 1600 clams. I don't know what that means. Gerald says, I want the 35 1.8 very much. Ali said, surpassing expectations on the A7S will be things like built-in electronic ND. I really do hope that they can do that. I mean, it would be fantastic if they could actually do that. I love the Canon system where you can drop them in onto that adapter, which is also works fantastic. But I would love them to do something like a ND that works like the RX100 Mark V. That would be fantastic. And you never know. That would be great, though. Haas says, will you be visiting the East Coast? No, I don't think so, Haas. I think it'll only be Vegas and LA. May get up to San Francisco. We're not sure yet because we're still sort of thinking about what we're going to do. Brandon says, was waiting at the other stream for a while. I found, is there 2 streams up there? I didn't know that. Conrad said, the rumours mills guys saying Q1 of March are really cutting it close to the wire. Yeah, I know they are, aren't they? Carl said, don't forget to give David a vote up. Thank you so much, Carl, for saying that. Richard said, I would love to get a 35 1.8. Brad Harris said, g'day, Brad. Here's hoping David sticks to the plan for one camera or he'll be travelling to the States alone. I love it. I know. I love it. Someone said, I can't remember who it was on my anniversary things yesterday. They put a post saying, happy anniversary, David. Hope Kerry still loves you or something when you get your 135. I went, oh, no. I quickly just said like on that one. Oh, boy. All right, let's go next story. Okay, so I wanted to put this in here because it's interesting. I noticed Tony Chelsea put a big video review up of the Sony RX0II and actually how she was saying that she's dumping Nikon to go to the A9 after this update. And particularly after I've been using it for a while now, I can fully understand what she's talking about. I mean, the update is incredible. So there's a good video there that you can watch how effectively the eye autofocus works. And Tony Northup's now saying that he thinks the Nikon, the A9 is better than the Nikon D5. Well, I could have already told him that. I think it was better even before. than what the Nikon D5 was. I think the A9 had the best autofocus that was available even before the update. It's just now that it's come out, it's taken it to another level. You know, it really has, like, incredible. So there is a video that you can watch there as well. He's stating now he believes it's better than the D5. Obviously, there'll be a D6 coming out soon, but Sony have probably held back also. I mean, we're going to get another version of a firmware upgrade to version 6 sometime later this year. So who knows what that's going to have in it. We know it's going to have animal IAF and also the intervalometer, but we don't know what else they may add and what tweaks they can also add. And there's also a couple of videos I posted on there as well. When I originally viewed the A9, I thought it didn't have the video tracking, but I've posted a video now about how to enable that. And I obviously also posted a video that talks about my settings, how I've set my A9 up. So, you know, if you do want to wonder how I've set mine up, you can go through that. And also, like I said, if you want to work out how to get the tracking working, I've also posted that in there as well. So they'll be in the links down below. But overall, just from the quick testing that I've done, like I said, I've been, it's quite funny, chasing Ziggy around the garden and stuff, and he runs like crazy. And the tracking is nuts on the A9. I've never seen anything like it. It really has taken that camera to another level. Like I said, it really could have been the A9 Mark II. It's that different. They could have just sold it as another camera, and I would have bought it. So we're so lucky to have got that firmware for nothing, and I think that's a great thing. I really do. And I want to sort of talk about this now. I didn't put that down on the show notes, but I did want to talk about this because I think companies may start to change their thinking about firmware updates. I notice there's rumours now that Canon are going to update the RP, I think, or the R. It might have been the R, with better IAF and some other features. There's rumours that's going to come out very, very soon. Nikon have been putting out updates. Fuji also have. For the first time, it seems to be that Sony now are really putting out amazing updates of not just giving you a small fix. You know, they're actually giving you lots of extra features, like even the A7 III and the A7R3 are getting animal IAF. They're getting better human IAF, and they're also getting the intervalometer put into the camera as well. So I think what's probably going to happen, I think there is going to be a slowdown on cameras and stuff that's announced. And I think what we're probably going to start seeing for the immediate future anyway is more firmware updates. I noticed Panasonic have put out an announcement this morning that they're going to give the 10-bit Vlog firmware upgrade in June or July, I believe. And that's a paid update, though. That's the way Panasonic seem to work. And I know you guys hate it, but I would have paid for this update if Sony asked to be paid for this. I would have paid for it. It's that good. But I think you're going to find they may hold, and you're already seeing it where Sony aren't releasing as many cameras as what they've done before. You think about the potential that the A9 sensor particularly has and what they've added on a 3-year-old sensor. I said this to you before, that you would be amazing what you can add through firmware on these cameras that are held back. And they don't release it because they normally want you to buy a new camera. Well, it seems to be that the marketplace is changing, and perhaps companies like Fuji and others like that were doing these amazing firmware updates have brought this change on, and it may be that we keep our cameras a lot longer than what they have been, but they update firmware and give us a lot of extra features in them. I still think we're going to get those 2 new cameras this year, the A7000 and the A7S III, but I don't believe with what they're doing with the A9, that we're going to get another A9 this year or even for the Olympics next year. I think it's just going to be fixed with firmware and they're going to concentrate on lenses. So I think the whole marketplace is swinging a little bit. And I'd love to know your opinion about that. Do you think I'm correct? But clearly, Sony has changed their tactic. They really have changed their tactic on how they do things. And they're now starting to match other manufacturers that are giving us big boosts in what the camera can do for no cost, and I think that's a fantastic thing. So let's open it up to the chat. But also, the other thing as well is, now with that video tracking upgrade put onto the A9, that's going to change everything for me. As you know, I already love shooting with the A9 more than any other camera that I had. I just love the focusing and I love the video quality that comes out of that camera. Now that I can track the subject like that with tracking, it's just incredible. You know, and the only thing that you actually have to do, and I've done it on mine, I think I put it into the quick menu. Let me just come down here. The only thing that you've got to put into the menu is that function of touch operation. So I've put that into my favorite menu. And then I can then immediately switch between touch focus, which will then rack the focus smoothly between what I want to do. Like, you know, if I wanted to rack focus from a bride to a groom or whatever, you can't use tracking for that. So having that function of touch operation in my quick menu, I can just click that and then change between that, and then I can go between tracking and also the just the touch function of that smooth racking between objects. And it really is going to take the A9 to another level. And obviously the new A7S III is going to have probably all of these features, and that's just going to be incredible for a video shooter. I noticed someone said the A9 hasn't got the logs though, and that, yeah, they haven't. Luckily for me, I don't use them, so it doesn't bother me in the least. I would prefer, though, the reason I would buy a new camera more than getting logs is just to get 4K 60p and a higher bit depth. But anyway, so let's have a chat and just see what people are saying. Italia said, "G'day, mate. David, Tamron G2 or Sigma 70-200 with the MC11 for my A9. I can't say, Italia, because I haven't used both of those with the MC11. Someone in the chat may be able to. State which one is better. I know the Tamron, I've used the Nikon version and it's incredible. But also the Sigma 70-200 is great too, but I don't know which one works best with the MC11. So someone in the chat may be able to help. Casper, I hope you're not deleting PhotoMeX comments for nothing. I prefer them to stay on. Haz said, if you visit the East Coast around DC, we could offer you and Kerry a lovely dinner. Please try and vlog your trip to Vegas and LA for us East Coast residents. Oh, I certainly will be. I'd love to come back to the East Coast as well. Yeah, I mean, I would love to get back up there. She's a smart woman then, Sony. Tim said, if Kerry really loved you and she would have gotten you an anniversary 135. I love it. Hero said, wait till Granger gets the new update. He's going to find a way to hate it. Oh, probably, no doubt. I don't know if he will anymore because he got dragged so much for doing that he may have finally learned his lesson. Let's wait and see. Let me just fill up my coffee cup. Oops. Just spilt it on the desk. So what else have we got? Haas says, Hero is working on a new AF system. Who's working on new AF? Insect AF. Oh, I see. Matt Granger. I love it. Altric said, the Nikon D6 better have Candy Crush to compete with the A9. Mark said, how old is the A9 now? Well, I think it's 3 years old, I think, Mark. I think, or is it 2 years old? I can't remember. Time goes so fast. Yeah, the A9 is about 2 years old, yeah. Hero says, I want the new Pro Sony body to have a little pop-up flashlight, the A6 series to have. Really convenient sometimes and produces good fill. Yeah, I don't miss that pop-up flash, Hero. I never used it ever. But everyone has different needs, I suppose. Video tracking, where was that? Video tracking is allowed only in touchscreen, not the EVF. Yep, yeah, I don't think it is. That doesn't bother me though. I mostly just use the screen on the back for that anyway. The A9 is like a new camera though. I agree, Casper. It certainly is. Greetings from Belgium. Froggy said, I believe you're onto something. I'm not sure what that was. Oh, you're talking about what I was discussing. When is the update for the A7 III? Sometime in April. So it could be any time. It may be early April. It might be the end of April like what the A9 was. Casey said, Sony needs A9H LG or slog and I'll buy it. Yeah, I don't think they're going to put it on there though. And I think I'm sure that camera could do it. I don't think there's any reason why they just don't put it on there. I think the reasoning is that it would make the ultimate camera, and that's the reason why they just don't do it. They want to give everyone a reason that they would buy the A7 III or the A7S III. So I don't think we're going to see it on that. I think if we were going to get HLG or S-Log, it would have come out in one of these latest versions. But like I said, I don't use it anyway, so it's not a big deal for me. Sharif said, I picked up the Sigma 70mm macro, works great for scanning your own negatives. It's a great lens, that 70mm. I'm waiting on my new camera upgrade. Mike said, seems they can't change the grey focus square through firmware. It was one of the top requests. I can't believe they can't do that. It should be a simple fix, and I've got no idea. If you can move it and it changes colour when you move your finger around, it should be able to work. Now, I very rarely move manually using the joystick or anything anyway, so I don't really find it a problem, because I find that, you know, when I'm using the, I don't even know if this will show up, when I use my finger to drag that around, it's actually orange, that dialog box, so it is actually orange. So I find that, you know, I think it works certainly good enough, and like I said, I'm happy with it. Where were we? But I don't see any reason why they couldn't change the... Oh, yeah, I don't know. I've got no idea. Sony unlocked the HDMI restrictions on the a7 III. I don't think they're going to do that either. They may not be able to. I mean, that new rule may only exist for new cameras that are released after that time. So they may not be able to do that due to that European restriction. So I don't think you're going to see them give you unlimited recording. Gerald said, I agree it makes sense to give us more with updates, saves production costs of new models and trying to sell new models every year. Yes, it does. And I'm sure Panasonic probably make a fortune with charging $100 or whatever it was for the Vlog update. Conrad said, you state you don't need logs. Why are you fine without, and so many saying it's necessary? I don't know, Conrad. I really don't. I know if you go to wedding film school, Craig and all those never use log profiles. They use just standard profile like I do. Have a look at my videos. Look at the videos that I've put on there of Kiara, Kate, everyone else, and tell me that they don't look beautiful shooting in the standard profile. As long as you expose correctly, I don't need them. And I haven't really had a need to use them. So I think my work speaks for itself when you look at the video quality that I've done without using any log at all, and it's just everything is standard. That's all I can say to you is I don't need it, because the quality is stunning in itself. So I just don't need it. If you need it, well, you need one. Well, if you need log, then obviously the A9 is not for you. I'm lucky because I don't use it. I don't even use it on my A7 III. Hero says MC11 isn't as wonderful as people say. Casper said okay. It's because I told him off for him deleting Photomic's comment. Chris said, Graphy Mill, Dave, have you seen Gerald Undone's video of how to do that? No, I'm not sure of how to do what. Photomix said, wait a sec, he deleted my comment. I can't see it on my end. Casper said he called Chelsea bad names. Oh, Photomic. Well, then you probably deserve to be deleted. Froggy said, just resend it. Casper said, be nice, no name calling Ike. Yep, you do have to be nice. Froggy said, Casper's been told. Photomix says, I called Tony a phony. Chelsea is fine. Graphy Mill said, where were we? Graphy Mill says, you can do it with a Ninja V recorder, but not a monitor. You have to turn off camera recording and use external recorder. Yes, and I do know that. I already knew that, Graphy Mill. That's how I've posted videos before and showing the focus on it. You just don't record to the internal card. Yeah, I've know that already. Yeah, that's fine. He'll never see it. Photomix says, I love it. Froggy said, that's what you were saying on your live the other day, Photomia. Chris said, Graphy Mill, Dave, I see that. I thought you were external recording. Okay. What else have I got? Let me just skip these because Casper and thing are just mucking around. Casper said he's a devil or something. 0007 said, is international version the same as the grey market? Something's offering an international version with full warranty. No, it's not. No, you've got to buy, well, I can only talk about Australia. You have to buy in Australia to get service by Sony Pro Support in Australia and get the warranty here. If you buy international or grey market, you have to send it back overseas to get fixed. That's why I would never buy that there at all. So it's, I never buy grey market stuff. I only ever buy Australian gear. Where were we? Elm said, I wish they would improve the ergonomics on the A9. I don't know why you say that though, Elm. I love the way the A9 works. I mean, I know a lot of people say they don't like the ergonomics, but I just don't understand it, because it might be just me, I don't know. But I find, you know, that you've got all of your camera speed settings at the top, like if you want to shoot high or low, you know, single shot. You've got your AFC, AFS buttons underneath there. Obviously, you can change from all your manual stuff there. You've got ample buttons all over the camera. You've got the FN menu coming through here that I can set up and use whatever I like. It's got a favorite menu. I really don't understand when people say the ergonomics are not good. Well, either you like it or you don't. You might just like the bigger SLR type. I hate the bigger SLR type of cameras. I love the way that they feel, and I wouldn't want Sony to change it. I really like it like that. But everyone, I suppose, has their same thing, Ellen. I mean, we all want different things. Photomix says, Casper is the meanest of them all. You've got to come to WPPI next year, by the way. You're talking about Casper. Mark said, shout out to Mark Geller doing great educational content. Casper says, you will never see me. Oh, sorry. Ellen said, I wish Sony or Canon would make a a6400 size of camera with built-in bright lens and full-frame sensor as a true quality travel camera. Yeah, not sure if that will happen. They might make a bit bigger body with an A7000 though. But David is coming. Why not? Yes, I am coming to Las Vegas. Where were we? Dion said they could be running out of memory in the area they save the settings. This is why they don't have the ability to change that color. Maybe, Dion. I'm not sure. I think that's the reason why it lost all the settings when you did put that upgrade over. Obviously, they've had to rewrite the whole software version, and that's why you can't bring the previous settings back in. It may be that now that there's much more room left or something. I'm not sure. Nice tech show, Dave. I'm a first time. Thanks for that. Triple says, and it's half price, but in a new box. I'm not sure what that was. Rye said, I hope Sony can make the banding in an A9 successor, hopefully before the Olympic. I've never had banding in my Sony cameras, apart from when I did that test using silent shutter under that funny lighting. I've never ever had banding with my A9 though, so I'm not sure where you get that, Rye. I've never seen banding in any of my shots, and I've been shooting this for 2 years now, extensively, weddings, portraits, events, never seen banding once. Did you update your MC adapter? Yes, I did. Chris said, how is Panasonic going to get more people to buy their cameras when they're going to hold back and sell their firmware? Well, it's never affected them before, Chris, because that's the way the GH5 worked. So, you know, you can't say that that doesn't work for Panasonic. It does. In fact, when I had a GH5, I paid for that upgrade to Vlog. That's why, and I know you guys hate me saying it, but I would have paid for this update for the A9. If Sony had said to me, we're going to give you this video tracking, we're going to give you video tracking, tracking in video, we're going to give you this new tracking as well, we're going to put the time-lapse app back in, all these other things that they've given us, better menus, I would have paid for it. And I know every time I say that you will go, oh, no, but I would have paid for it because I would have bought a new camera for those features. If Sony had said this is the new A9 II, I would have bought it. So, you know, I think it's... Panasonic do make money from it, I believe. G'day, Michael. Good to see you in here. JK said A9 plus Canon 70-200 with the MC11 adapters for sport pictures. Any comments? Like I said, hopefully someone can answer for that for you, JK. I've never done it. Talia said, should I get the Tamron G2 or the Sigma? I'm hoping that someone says something about that. A grip would help the haters with a small body. Yeah, you see, you can use a grip. Remember, I haven't got my grip in here. I never use it. But if you do hate it, it's just a matter of putting the grip on. I mean, that's all you've got to do. It's not really a big deal. And it does make it much more substantial if you like holding the larger bodies. I don't. I like the camera the way it is. So, because Alan says, G'day Moss, how are you? Alan says, I use the Canon bodies like the 7D Mark II and the 1DX, and you can hold it for hours. Yeah, mate. And like I said, everyone likes different things. We all do. I hated lugging around my big Nikon D4S. I was wrapped when I went over to the Sony cameras due to their size, but that's me. PJ Smith said the Nikon Z cameras will never have a vertical grip as there is no connector for one. Yeah, and I don't understand why they did that. And they might change that for the next version. Casper said never had banding either. No, I've never had banding. PJ Smith says the A9 definitely does have banding. It's a fact. Well, PJ, I don't agree with you because I haven't seen it. I can only talk to you about my personal views. Casper has also said he's never had banding as well. Don't believe what you read online because online is full of trolls. They will say anything to try and knock the Sony system down. And that's what these online groups say. Immediately when they're putting on there, it'll be people that don't have the camera saying that it's crap, it has banding. They've done it all along. They used to do it with Sony's battery life. They used to do it with Sony's lens lineup. And then they started doing it with banding. The banding does not exist with the A9, I can tell you that now. Photomix says, come on now, you know good and well, if you have a bigger G Master lens, your knuckles rub against the edge of the lens. Yeah, and that may be that my hands are smaller, Photomiac, so you may be right if you have large lenses. Yes, I have to give you that. Pavkor said, hi David and all, would you, David, or anyone recommend buying Godoc's AI60W for photography? Not sure what that is that just a flash? Not sure if it would be powerful enough. Otherwise, Godoc's SL150. Oh, they're the continuous lights, aren't they? Pav, I'm not sure. I think they're the continuous lights. Yes, if they run on battery and you can take them around. I still think you're probably better off with a flash unit, though. I'm going to talk about the Profoto stuff soon too. The new battery grip. The Sony grip is too small. I'll grab it, Photomax, so I can show you. I don't know if it's too small. It depends, I suppose. Like I said, it all depends on how your... I can't be bothered to put it on. It's going to take too long. But they are reasonable sized battery grips. I mean, they're not what you'd call tiny. It does add substantially to the camera. You know, and like I said, I just don't like using them because I find that I should sell them because... I like the camera being small as it is, and I find the Z battery lasts me all day anyway. It might be a bit worse now with the new A9 update, but it probably still will last me enough, and I'm only ever going to need 2 batteries. So I just don't like... Look, there is an advantage when you want to start shooting that way, and then you can use, you know, your buttons on the side. I mean, there is an advantage if you go in portrait mode. I just tend to just use the camera like this and hold it that way, but there is definitely an advantage when you can just hold it this way. So I can see advantages, and I can definitely see what you mean about if your hands are large, that it could be an issue. Natalia said, I had banding issues, not terrible, but it was visible when I shot live music under newer lighting. You see, I've never seen it. I've never seen it. Look, there's things that you've got to do as well. You have to match the frequency. So, and this is where a lot of people are having issues because what you've got to do, if you're in Australia, it's 50 hertz. All right. So if you, and it doesn't tend, to be completely honest, I've never really had to worry about it with my A9 because I've never seen it. But if you had the A7, you may potentially get banding if you use silent shutter. But all you really have to do is use multiples of your frequency. So, you know, you can use 1/50th of a second, you can use 100, 150th of a second, and that should eliminate banding. So if you're careful about it, you should never see it. And like I said, I never have. And I think the people that are seeing it probably did not have the correct shutter speed on their cameras. Michael said some people just have Sony hating agendas, and they do, and it's exactly right. I mean, we know how angry he is, don't we? Hates Sony. For no reason. Mike said Amar hates Sony for no reason. Mike said quite a few reviewers commented on how they liked the way the Canon EOS R and EOS RP felt in the hand compared to Sony. Yeah, look, like I said, it just depends, Mike, doesn't it? And I'm always honest with you guys. I have no problem, but my hands are small. I mean, I'm only a short guy. I'm only 5'6". I'm small. So I'm only really, like a little guy. So for me, my hands fit perfectly on this system, and I love holding this system. Kerry loves holding it. I'll be careful how I say that. Please don't comment. Kerry loves holding it. So, look, it's all a personal thing. I think one of the reasons why the Sony system sells so well is due to the bodies that are there. New people that are coming into the marketplace, I think they probably like the feeling of these. And, not only that, everyone loves the a6500 cameras, and they're even smaller. It's all a personal thing and what people are used to. I suppose the old school, the typical older shooter that's out there that's come through a digital SLR generation loves the big feeling cameras like the D800 and these massive cameras that are out there. And I can understand that because that's what you're used to. I particularly hate it. I don't like it. When I grabbed the Canon 5D Mark IV, and I just couldn't wait to get back to the Sony camera because it just felt like this massive brick that I was holding. I hated it. Triple Seven said, PJ, I get banding when I come out of Camera Raw Lightroom in 8-bit, but not if I set it to 16-bit. Do you shoot the 70-200 often? Yeah, I do. The 70-200 f4 I've got, and I love it. PJ said, would you recommend the Sigma Sport 70-200 over the Tamron G2? I would recommend the Sigma, over the Tamron. Interesting. It's better in almost every aspect. Mark said, Photomic, get a vertical grip and be done. You can fix that, but you can't fix a secondary card slot missing. Ooh. Rice said, I've got banding on my A9 and my A7 III. I compared similar shots with the Nikon Z and 5D during a wedding. Yeah, I don't know what you're doing wrong then, Rye. They may have a problem with the camera. Because like I said, I shoot with the A9 more than any camera that I've got, and I've never had banding. So that's all I can tell you. I'm not paid by Sony. I'm not employed by Sony. I buy all the stuff myself. I'm not going to lie to you. I posted a video about banding. I actually showed that it happened. The banding was terrible in the A7 III. I took the same shot with the A9 and there was no banding. If you go back, you'll see the video that I posted. So I proved that the A7 III has it. So I'm not going to lie to you, but I have not had banding in any A9 shot that I've had. Where were we? Gerald said, never had any banding in my A9 shots either. Altric said, when I had my Canon 1DX, my right arm looked like Popeye's arm. I know, I used to be like that too. My back used to kill me after doing weddings. It's so good to be able to do weddings now and not have a sore back at the end of the day. I just adore it. Dion said, there is a possibility of banding under certain conditions. Yeah, like I said, Dion, I've never had it. And I've shot under as many conditions as you can think of. I just haven't had it. Casper said, did you use the grip? No. Dion said, photo me at that grip issue. The grip issues is only an issue for big Americans. Yeah, could big strong guy. Photomic's probably, got massive hands. Watch the fake troll bull crap. Michael said, I don't have troll fingers, so ergonomically the A9 body fits great for me. Photomix said, David, I was talking about the built-in grip. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. But then you've probably got fairly big hands, Photomix. So it probably is a reason why you like, say, the Nikon Z cameras and D800 and stuff, because you probably have got larger hands. I do use the grip in studio. Like I said, I never use my Mark, and I probably should get rid of it. I just don't use them. How many on here? Let me know how many of you have got the grip, because I'd be curious to know. I mean, that's the A7 III grip, and I've got the A9. I think they're different. Yeah, I've got both of them, but I never use them. I don't even know why I bought it. Actually, I think I got the A9 one free when I bought the A9. They just threw it in for me. Hero says, I'd rather twist my hand and wrist in a way to take my portraits. The grip felt awkward. Yeah. Gerald said, I have big hands and use my large GM lenses and never have trouble with holding lenses or interference with my Sony bodies. Michael said, David, that's what happened to me. I was using the wrong shutter speed. Yeah, and that's the thing. If you're smart about it, you have to be conscious about the shutter speed, because these flicking lights will have a hertz that you have to get, which is in Australia, which is 50. If you're in the States, it's 60. So as long as you use the multiples, like you use 60, 120 if you're in the States, etc., you should eliminate the banding. Also turn off the electronic shutter. That can also cause a major issue as well. If you turn that off, that can help as well. I've never had to do that though, but... Dean said LED lights can be a big problem for banding. Andrew said A6400 with gimbal, flippy, A7 III full frame, poor screen for travel and vlogging, and price and weight factor. What's best? You're talking about for travel. I don't know, it just depends on whether you'd want to carry around a smaller or a bit of a bigger camera. I mean, I love the A6400 for travel. I do love that because it is so small. I now tend to only travel with those cameras usually. So I'd probably say if you are doing just travel alone, the A6400 will probably be better. Sony likes the body grip to be minimal. Even the A6300 feels like it might slip out of my fingers. Tony said, I use small rig bracket or grip adds for the pinky space. Yep. Altrix said, I used to use a battery grip of my 1DX because I like the bulky cameras. I'm going to try to use my A9 without the grip for a week and see how it is. Let me just scroll through because I better continue on, otherwise we're going to be here all day. Brad said, yes, anytime you have large glass, the grip is needed. That was PJ, actually. Michael said, I have 2 grips and don't use them anymore because the pinky grip feels so much better. Yeah, I probably should get that little pinky grip. The only thing that stops me getting it is how the camera sort of sits on an angle, doesn't it, Michael, when you use it. Gerald said, I have both the Sony and the Miki grips for the A9, A7R, and they work well for the extra grip, but I'm just comfortable shooting without it. That's about it. All right, so that's the next story. Just wanted to quickly go over this because talking about the RXOII that's just come out the other day. I did mention this in the Behind the Photo show yesterday, but I thought I'd quickly go through it. Looks like Sony have done a really, really nice job here. That you can get 4K 30 out of this, and it's not downsampled. There's no binning and stuff like that. I think it is downsampled, isn't it? But there's no binning. I think it's saying that it's a 24mm. Yeah, it's a 24mm equivalent f4. F4's a little slow. I'm a little bit disappointed that they didn't say use a 2.8, but it does have that great flip-up screen that you can use there. It's waterproof, obviously, and things like that. Looks like it's overall not a bad release, but there's some buts. As you know, I always give you my opinion about things. The RX0 looks like it's fairly good. The pop-up screen seems to be great. There's a couple of things that really have bugged me about it, though, and the reason why I probably wouldn't get it. The main one is because it's only got AFS, and that is a big deal for me. If they're touting this as a blogging device, it should have had AFC. They may have taken that out due to heat, though. That's probably what's happened here. But when you think of the price of the GoPro, this is a lot more expensive than the GoPro. And yeah, I think it's a bit of an issue. The GoPro also is much wider, which is what you often need for this type of camera. 24mm is not very wide for like an action camera. So I don't think the lens is wide enough, and I also don't think it's fast enough. I also think that the AFS and not putting AFC in it was a big mistake. And I also believe the monitor turns off after a minute. That's probably also something to do with heat as well. So look, overall it seems like it's a good release, and it may sell. I'm not convinced it probably will sell that well. It looks like it's a nice size. It looks robust, you know, great if you wanted to just do a travel, stuff like that. But the big downfalls for me are the AFS. That's a massive downfall for me. And the screen turning off, because then you just don't know if the screen turns off and you're dealing with AFS, you don't even know if you're in focus. So I think it's got some really major downfalls, and it's a pity in the version 2 of this that they couldn't have added AFC. If it had AFC, I would have said yes, I might even be tempted to buy that. But because it hasn't, and that screen turns off after a minute, and it's only 24mm, like I said, that's a bit tight for dealing with vlogging. You know, you do need a wider lens. That's why I love I haven't got it in here, but that's why I love the 10-18 on my a6400. I think over this, I would prefer to buy, look, I know it's not an extreme camera like this is. I think for the money, I prefer to buy a a6400 and get the 18-105. Yes, it's more expensive, but it's much more practical in what you could do with it. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm going to skip a few, and then we're just going to open up Q&A because we'll be here too long. Profoto Connect, I wanted to discuss. Oh, did I not switch that back? I've done that again. Let me just scroll through this so you can see it. Hate it when I do that. I always forget to switch screens, so you guys can't see what I'm looking at. I mean, it does look nice and light, you know, like it does look nice and small. You can also use the handle, which I've got here somewhere, there. So you can use, you know, your normal handle that you can use, which is for the a6400 as well. So I think it's the exact same handle. Yeah, I think it's that one. And I like that with the a6400. It's really, really works well. Let me just put it on, I'll show you. Because I think it actually is a really nice little system. So it's obviously using the same thing, like that. And then you've got a little button that's on the side that you can click and then move that around to wherever you want it to go. Also, you can control your camera from this as well. Like there's a play and also a zoom function if you have a zoom, like the 18-105. But this is a really good vlogging system because it's nice and small, and you know, you can just hold it like that. And then if you have the 10-18 on here, it gives you a very wide field of view. And then you can also stand it on the stand to shoot you as well and look at you in the actual viewfinder. So I love that, and I love the way that works. So I think the Sony is, you know, I just think that's a better solution than the RX0. But the RX0 is an action camera. I wanted to go through with this Profoto Connect because I just keep, the more I think about it, the more that this bugs me what Profoto have done. They brought out this device. Look, it looks beautiful. It looks like something you'd see on top of a naval ship, you know, like a radar device sitting on the top. So it is very small and minimalistic. And really, it's only got, like I said, the three features, I think. It just says manual, auto, and off. And basically that's it. I mean, you know, that's all there is. And there's a picture there of it sitting on an a6400 or 300, whatever it is. I mean, it does look, it looks beautiful. And I have to say, Profoto design is always outstanding, stunning, in fact. But the product's flawed. I mean, let me explain what's going on. Now, I also use the Profoto B10, all right? So I do use that. And when I'm using the continuous light, I use my phone to control the continuous light. But that's different than using a flash, because when I'm doing images with flash and things like that, I'm often working quick and changing exposure settings and things like that very, very fast. TTL is fine. This is designed for someone that doesn't know how to really use off-camera flash, because it's just designed to be using TTL. Now, this is where it's flawed, because you stick the device on top, and then, you know, you're trying to get your shots. Now, if the exposure is incorrect, you've then got to try and be holding this and then open up your phone, open it up, launch the application, hope that the wireless connects to it, then dial in your exposures, whatever you're going to change, then put your phone down and then get it to work. because the only way you can get it to work through this if you want to do everything yourself is to use the mobile phone. Now, I have to do that if I want to control the continuous light on my own, but that's fine, because usually with continuous light I set it once and then I don't change it anymore. So, or I might just turn it on and off with the phone. So I like using that with the Profoto app on the phone for the B10, but it's certainly not changing exposure with it. Even though I can, it's not doing that. And this is where I think this is very flawed. And I don't think a client is going to be happy with you looking like you're just looking at your mobile phone. Other people are going to be looking at you thinking, that guy's a wanker. He's looking at his mobile phone there when he's meant to be taking shots. And they're marketing this at someone just coming into the system. Who is going to just come into the system and pay, like in Australia, this is nearly $500. I think it's $300 US, which is expensive anyway, but it's $475 here in Australia. Now you add the A1, which is the base flash that you can use with this, and in Australia, I'm $2,000 before I can even start. Who's just starting photography is going to have $2,000 and go for a Profoto unit? And you know I love Profoto, and this is why I say to you, I always tell the truth. I will bag a product if it deserves to be bagged, and I think this deserves to be bagged. And if you read all the comments, they have got slammed by this product. In fact, most people are saying it's an April Fool's Day joke because it's completely flawed. Having it where you have to use a mobile phone to change exposure settings when you're trying to hold a camera and shoot and things like that is nuts. And I just don't know who this is for. I really don't. They should have fixed the Profoto remote to work better and work like the A1 software does, which is brilliant. Like when you want to change exposure and things like that, it's just from a wheel and you just turn it, and the software is stunning. And if they put that into this, that would have made sense. But to have a system like that has no buttons on it at all, and asking that type of money is nuts. And I think Profoto's lost the ball here. And this is the first time I think Godox probably won't copy Profoto, because they'll probably think it's a stupid idea and no one's going to do it. So that's that. Last story before we open up Q&A. I'll be interested to see what you all say about that. I did test the a6400 the other day. I did a full test outside. So there is an article there. You can look at the video if you want to. I'll share that down below as well. But I was really interested to test it because last year I tested the A9, the A7 III, and the A7R2 basically in the same heat, which was around 30 degrees Celsius. The A9, I think the A7R2 turned off first. I think it was about 20 minutes. The A9 and the A7 III both turned off. They were in full sun, shooting 4K video. They both turned off after 27 minutes. I think it was 27, around there anyway. But they did overheat at that and turn off. Well, the a6400 went for an hour and I just gave up. So it does look like Sony has fixed the overheating issues in their latest cameras, and obviously from now on you'll probably find it's never going to be an issue anymore. So I did want to do a full test before summer finishes here. We had a 30-degree day the other day and I thought, beautiful, I'm going to go and test it, and I did, and we had no issues at all. So I just wanted to post that in there to say it looks like that's all been solved. But let me bring up questions and we'll go from there. So fire away any questions, guys, if you have any. Where are we? PJ Smith said the Z6 is not plastic at all. I hate the Z series cameras. Can't agree there. It looks like the Z6 is a great camera, guys. And like I said, I'm not going to slam a camera that's good. I think that camera is stunning in what it does. The images it produces are stunning. The video is amazing. Its real flaw is the single card slot, and that's how I feel about that. I'm not buying another camera like that has a single card slot. Apart from that, though, it's a great release, and I can't wait to see what they do in their newer cameras. You know, it's going to be a great system. I think the Nikon has definitely been a way better release than the Canon. That's for sure. Graffy Mills said, I use the grip when shooting a day of racing photography, but not when shooting video. I use a cage, wooden grip, and top handle for that. Michael said, Photomiac, I can drop a Z camera. It will be called a Z puzzle. Sydney Image said, hi David, do you notice the colours from the a6400 render different? Yes, I've found, looking at the images that I've taken so far, I think that the JPEG images particularly are better on the a6400. Yeah, so I think you're going to find the A9 is probably going to have that same colour science. Slightly better than the a7 III. Yeah, I think the a6400 rendering now is really good. And each camera that comes out, Sony are improving it. And they've said in the A9 firmware update that they've improved the image quality. Froggy says, I'm baffled with the AFC. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't add AFC in that camera. I really don't. I just can't believe it, really. Question, does the a6400 have better focusing than the a7 III? Yes. Yeah, it does. In my testing so far, yes. The tracking is just unbeatable. Apart from the A9, which has done it better. Photomix says, I agree, the RX0II is a dud. Yeah, I just don't understand Sony's thinking with that camera. I really don't. Hero Shot said, GoPro. Froggy said, it's more of a trophy product, so they can produce something very small. Yeah, but you still got to produce something that's usable and good. And that's what I'm saying. Why waste R&D on something that's flawed? And I don't understand that. Graffy Mills said, the a6400 has the AF features that the a7 III is supposed to get in the next update. No, it doesn't. The a6400 has tracking. The a7 III does not have tracking. Big difference. Massive difference. Mark said, I would buy the RX2 if a smartphone does it already. Why would you buy? Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. PJ Smith said, no, the a6400 definitely not as far. Well, I found it better. Photomix said, Sony putting a flip screen on everything except for cameras people really want. I know, it's funny, isn't it? Michael says, Casper Master is out of control. Look what you've created, Photomiac. What else have we got? Mark said, where are we? Ooh. Mark said, oh, he's talking about the, however you pronounce it, P30 Pro has a 30 megapixel front-facing camera. Wow. Godox will copy it. I don't know if they'll copy that one, Carl. I really don't. No, they will not. They will not be that stupid. I think I agree with you. Casper said, I would like to see a video of you using the 85 GM since this last update. I probably would never get the 85 GM, Casper, but the 135 might be my first GM. Alex said, did you notice some improvements in terms of colour? Yes, definitely. I haven't looked at gradients and stuff yet on the A9 there, but I have definitely seen an improvement in the a6400 though. PJ Smith said, no one will copy that, will not sell. I know, I don't think it will either. I don't know what they're thinking. I do not know what Profoto were thinking about releasing that product. I really don't. Photomix says, if Godox copies it, that means they have to give it away for free. Their triggers are cheap though. Yeah, I know they are. You can control it using the phone. Also said, hey Photomiac, what's the best budget lens you can start out with for the video on the Z6? Hopefully he'll answer you. He said there an F-mounted lens adapted. Casper says next camera will be an A-mount. Ooh. Also says I have the A7 III, but I also added the Z6. Cool. Cole says, hi David, any word on the highly anticipated Tamron 17 to 28? Now Tamron Australia contacted me the other day just to say they haven't heard anything yet. It's meant to be a mid-year release, so I'm just waiting like everyone else. Hopefully they'll give me a pre-release version of it. Shagoo said, what speed light and remote triggers do you recommend for Sony? Well, I can only recommend what I use, which is the Profoto lights, but I've also got the Sony HLV60s. I've got 3 of those, which is the Sony flash. There's a new version of that now that's come out. If you were just starting to come out into photography though, I would get Godox. I mean, I'm not going to recommend Profoto to beginning photographers that aren't earning money. They're too expensive. So as a starting photographer, or if you're not earning so much money, I'd be getting, say, some of the Godox on-camera flashes, or go for something like the AD200, AD400 and AD600. That's probably what I'd recommend as a starting setup. Conrad said, I recommend the RX100V to a friend for travel photography. She has no experience and just wants some good shots she can print out from her trip to Europe. Am I on target or at least safe? Well, yeah, I had that and I sold it. Only because, look, I bought the a6400 and I just wasn't going to use it anymore. It is a great travel camera though. The only problem with it is that it just doesn't have enough reach as a travel camera. I bought it to more vlog with. The 1V, the 6, version 6 is better in that regard because it has a much longer lens, but it still is a great, there's a couple of ways of thinking about that camera. It has much better low light and it has a built-in ND. So if you're dealing with video and stuff, the RX100V is better. But if you want something that has a much longer lens, version 6 is better, but you can't go wrong with them. I mean, they're nice little cameras. The autofocus on the A9 is mind-blowing. Altric said, I know, it's incredible. Gerald says, I am with you now. I feel my A9 is the best camera I've ever used. Told you, Gerald. With all due respect to my A7R III, the A9 is certainly better than the Canon 1D and 5D. Than the Nikon 5D. Canon 5D, that would have to be. Raw Dang said, had a card slot malfunction on my A7R III today. Always happens eventually. Couldn't get my SD card to lock in. Thank God for warranty. Any experience with repairs and customer service? If you're in pro support, fantastic. If you're not in pro support, I can't comment because I've only ever used Sony Pro Support and they're brilliant. They're fantastic here in Australia. I don't know about overseas, but they're fantastic here. Gerald said, the newest Godox triggers have the direct setting as well as iPhone apps. That is the way to go. Altric said, I will say the colours on the A9 after the firmware is outstanding. Yeah, I'll have to test that, Altric. Photomix said, if the inner body is an alloy, that means it's not plastic. Very plastic. Michael, no, it's not plastic. Fuzzy maths. 42 Pros said, AD200 Evolve 200 is very flexible flash and can do a lot in photography work, and it is a great portable system. Yeah, I'd probably recommend the AD200 for anyone that's just starting out using off-camera flash. You're going to get a much better result than the smaller speed lights, and it's much more flexible. Like, you can stick it inside modifiers and things like that, you know, and I'd probably recommend the AD200 for anyone just starting out. Alex said, David, do you think that the improvement in terms of colour from the a6400 can be done to the A7 III firmware? Yeah, sure, it could. I'm sure it could. Dwayne said, happy anniversary to you and Kerry. I'm having trouble with the A9 update on my A9. I have the MacBook Pro 217 running High Sierra. Any suggestions? The only thing I can say to you, Dwayne, is that you have to load the driver first. If you load the driver first, then you shouldn't have any issues. But you've got to follow the instructions step by step. The only people that have issues with upgrading it don't follow the instructions. But I found this time, I never even had to load drivers or anything. I just opened up the file and installed it. It was no issue. There's a few videos online that take you through it, Dwayne, though. If you search firmware upgrade for Sony on Apple, you should be able to find something. Froggy said, the A7 III is getting Evolve EIAF with half-press shutter. Yep, animal AF and interval shooting. Yes, can't wait for that to be released for my A7 III. Chris is saying, hello. G'day, Chris. How are you? Sure you so jelly. They're still arguing. So that's about it, guys. I'm still answering a couple of questions there. Don't forget, I think Aaron and my show, I've got to talk to Aaron about it though, because I've got a shoot with Kate next Wednesday, so I'm not going to be able to do Aaron's and myself behind the photo on Wednesday, Wednesday Australian time. So it may have to be Monday, because I think I'm going to be doing a workshop on Tuesday, going out to see, it's Jerry Guionis' brother, I think, at a castle here. So I think I'm going to be doing that on Tuesday, and I think Wednesday I've got the shoot with Kate. Let me know if anyone wants to join me for that in Melbourne. you can come and assist if you like. So I've got that with Kate on Wednesday. So I may be doing the Behind the Photo show on Monday, but I'll have to contact, which will be US Sunday evening. I'll have to contact Aaron, though, to make sure if it's okay with him. If it's not, it might have to miss next week, and then we'll be back next week. Apart from that, don't forget the meet-up in Melbourne on the 6th of April. So we're only a week away at 6 o'clock at the GPO in Melbourne. I'm going to have stacks of gifts to give out on the day as well. 2 beautiful models will be there. And hopefully you can stay and have a bite and a drink afterwards as well. So hopefully that'll be all happening soon too. So let's go through our last few questions before we finish. Michael said, okay, at the end of the day, Ken told me to tell you Fuji. Raw said, what are the top 5 things you like about the A9? Well, top 5 things. I love the menu. I love how you can control that extra dial. To me is, I just adore being able to, change all your settings from the menu. Autofocus particularly is just incredible. What else would I say? Probably the touch screen now is much better than anything I've ever used before since that latest update. The video autofocus is just outstanding, even though it doesn't have the profiles. The video autofocus I just love. And obviously the silent shooter, being able to shoot completely silent. So, there's some massive differences with that camera with anything else Sony have got. Have the colours improved? I don't know. I've got to check that, Shane. I'll have to find out. I'll see if I can check all that over the weekend or something. By the way, have a look at these 2 that I got sent from Freewell. I'm going to do a review on these. These are for the Osmo Mobile. They sent me out this whole kit. Now, I did use the previous version of these. I don't think they're here. Oh, yes, they are. I did purchase the smaller version of these, and if I open them up, let me just see if I can get them out. That was the one that I purchased, so I did pay for these, excuse me, out of my own money. These are the ones that I got, but now they've sent me a stack of different ones. Why is that flashing? See, it's strobing that light a little bit. They've also sent me, like I said, they've sent me this coming out, which is amazing. Now, some of these have variable NDs. I think they're variable polarizers, because they're saying they go from ND4 to ND16. Then there's a circular polarizer that you can turn around. There's also ND8 with a circular polarizer. That's fantastic. So you've actually got circular polarizer with it as well. They also sent me out 2 of these, and I've got to have a look, but one was something like an ND32 or some ridiculous thing that I can use, and I can't remember what that one was as well. So they've sent me out a stack, so I will review that for them. Like I said, I did purchase the previous ones, and they just asked me if they could send me out those, and I said, yeah, no problem, because I love them. So stay tuned for that video as well. That's probably what you should be getting, Photomiac, that sort of setting, or the smaller one that I got for your Osmo Pocket. They work fantastic. So stay tuned for that as well. Let me just... That light's flickering. Can you guys see that flickering? Or is it just me? Dan, if I was where you live, I would assist, but I'm in the USA. Or hopefully you can come out and meet me when I come over to WPPI. Graphy Smith said, Mac updating, you have to unlock your security settings installing. Yeah, you've got to follow the process really closely, otherwise it doesn't work. I've been using the Pocket Wizard and Alien Bees and Nikon Speedlights, but I get some funny white balance shifts. Interesting. Casper said, how do I get one of those shirts? Casper, you have to come over here and meet me in Melbourne. I'm going to be giving some away. Altric said the colours have improved on the A9. Thanks, Altric. I can't wait to try that. They're not for cell phone. They're for the Pocket. They're for this. So stay tuned and I'll do a review on it and show you how it all works. But they're for the... Let me just see if I can get that to not focus. Face detect always is hard to stop. Yeah, they're for this. So they just magnetically attach on the front. So stay tuned for that. Dion saying I'm seeing the flicker. You might be right, but I didn't see it before, Dion. That's what's weird. Colin said, good night. I can't get my autofocus to work with my a7 III using the Tamron lens. I wonder why. It works fine for me. Altric said the colours have improved. PJ Smith said filters. Yep, they certainly are. Mark said re-firmware. The driver is not the actual firmware. Yeah, you've got to open up the driver and add that separately. Also, just you. Okay, so it is just me. Dion said it's just a flicker you see from your side view. Photomix says I was looking into them. I will have my pocket netted out before I leave next month to Greece. Yeah, they're very... I'm not just saying that because they sent them to me, Photomix. I bought that first version that came out and they are brilliant. I love the magnetic way they attach. Fantastic. Christy I said, I'm trying my hardest to be able to make WPPI 2020. I already have it in my calendar, the days I want to go. Fantastic. I can't wait. I'm so excited about it all. Do you have a cage for the a6400? Yes, I have. It's back in there. I've got the small rig one that was sent out for me. I also got that little, where was the a6400? I also got that sent out to me the other day. Let me just grab the cage for you. So I've got this little cage that I use. That's the extender for your, obviously for your microphone. So that's the small rig cage, and I've reviewed that, and that's online if you want to see how it is. Small Rig sent me that. This isn't available yet. I've got to see if I can get it. Small Rig sent me that one that you see on top here that's not available yet. I believe that's shipping in April. They just gave me a pre-release version of it. And another company sent me another one. It's in the house actually, that connects to the bottom. It just screws into the bottom, and then you can put it out on the side, and it pops out there with a hot shoe on it. So I'll review that as well. Another company sent me that the other day, so I will be showing that in an upcoming video, because there's some different ways depending on how you want to show stuff. I've still got that light that I've got to review. I think I'm going to be doing that this weekend. The company just sent me a V-mount battery for that light, because I thought I'd like to try it, you know, like mobile. So stay tuned for that as well, because it's a flexible LED light, and I can't wait to play around with that. So stay tuned for that as well. And I've also got the cage that Small Rig sent me for the a7 III. And I've bought handles and stuff. I purchased the handles, but they did send me out the cage. This is the monitor attachment, but I'll explain this all in a video coming up. So this is a really nice cage. So I've got that now as well that I have to review. So I've still got to review that for Small Rig yet as well. Got to pick up my boy. See you later. No worries, Dion. Brasan said good morning. Casper said Fuji. Photomiak said Santorini with a pit. Oh, he's talking about where he's going over in Greece. What else have we got? Gerald says, I will see you at WPPI, making arrangements now. Cool, can't wait. Chris said, do you have any remotes that work with flashpoint lights? No, because I don't use them. So someone else might be able to answer that for you, Chris. I only use, like I said, I only use Profoto lights. Alex said, is the 100 STF lens worth the money? Is the bokeh much better? It depends. Alex, I don't like that. It's a personal thing. I think the 100 STF looks fake. And this is the reason why I've never even wanted to get that lens. The bokeh is so perfect that it looks like it's been superimposed in. I would prefer to buy the Sony 135 or the Sony 105 or 100 f1.4 than that. The other issue is it's slow. It's rated at 5.6. So it's a very slow lens, so you're going to have to up your ISO. So it's not a lens that interests me at all, but it's just a personal thing. If you love the look, it's something that you'd like to get. Have you used a roto? Yes, I've got 3 roto lights, William. So I have got those lights. I've only got version 1 though. I've got so much lighting, but you know, I do use everything. I've got roto lights and also ice lights as well. Ice lights are my favorite, but I also use roto lights as well sometimes. Yeah, Underbound, I'm still on. We've been having a long chat. All right, guys, that's it for today. I'm going to head off, do some other work. Catch you all on the weekend. 40 Process, thanks. If you have to use the a6400 for video, for an extended time, Blind Spot has finally released a power junkie that uses the MPF batteries. Oh, cool. That can power the camera and monitor. Interesting. Thanks for that, 42 Pros. Leave the link down below or something in the comments and I can have a look at it. All right, guys. Catch you all soon, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now.